The Range Rover VELAR was introduced in 2017 and ushered in the new design lines greatly inspired by the smaller Evoque. The design features smooth body lines and a coupe-like stance, emphasizing a sporty look. It is a shape we expect to see in future designs, but I wonder how this will look on a bigger scale. The Range Rover VELAR. Okay, I've had a lot of questions about what I think about this car. Quickly, this is what I like and I don't like about this car. The first thing will be the digital handle. I just think it's beautiful, makes the car sleek, but it's quite not useful. Okay, the second thing I like about this car is the fact that some of them come with the 5.0 and the 3.0 supercharged engines. I'm not going to talk about the 2.0 turbo because for our region we've had a lot of issues with lean burn and errors and bad engines, so we don't even support those cars anymore. Okay, so I'll go on to the fact that it's a small Range Rover. I'm trying to live with the sport. Range Rover, as we know from the heritage, is a big SUV. You know, a lot of people like the fact that this car too is compact. I like compact cars too. I love compact cars, but maybe not in the Range Rover mark. They've tried. They've named it something else. Range Rover means now means luxury SUV, or the compacts, and the name that follows, like the VELAR, is the name of the car, and of course the Evoque. I'm not just going to talk about the Evoque. It's a tiny car. It's a good car. It's a beautiful car for the ladies. But I think this is now the Range Rover for the ladies and not the Evoque. Okay, so far so good. The engine, I love the engine. It's faster because it's lighter. The 3.0 V8, you get a lot of awesome performance. And the 5.0 is something else. It's a rocket. So now let's talk about the various engines of the VELAR and which one of them is advisable in our region. To make this easy, just know that there are 9 types of engines that you can possibly find in the VELAR. There are about 4 diesel engines and about 5 petrol gasoline powered engines. So somebody actually asked me the P designation, what does it stand for? Okay, so let's start. Right, okay, let me start with the D. The D180, that's a diesel. There's a 2.0 turbo diesel, and there's a D240, which is the same engine but more powerful. And there's also the V6 twin turbo diesel, that's the D275, and there's the V6 D300 for 2017, which is more powerful. So let's go to the petrol engines. And we're going to start with the P250. That's the smaller engines, the same engine you find in the Evoque. I will actually say, please do not go there. It's turbo, they are high compression. We have a problem with those engines, with the lean burn and very, very low octane fuel. And same goes for the 2017 P300, because it's a 2.0 twin turbocharged engine as well. Okay, so let's go to the real shebang, which is the engine you find here. It is the 3.0 supercharged. So the P340 and the P380, actually the 3.0 V6 supercharged that you find in other Range Rovers, but the 340 is 335 brake horsepower, and just like this, the 280 is 375 horsepower, so it has more power. So either V6 you go for, they're beautiful. And of course, make sure you buy your octane additives. Somebody actually asked when I was doing my last review, what do you use? What octane brand would you recommend? I use Liquid Moly all the way. That's what we use to service the car. It's the best. Liquid Moly, and of course we have other Liquid Moly products. We have the Ceratec, but that's for engineers when you just built an engine, and of course the engine flush too, radiator cleaner, catalyst system cleaner, and these two for engineers. This is the airflow meter cleaner. Okay, so that's for the V6 engines, and we'll go to my favorite, the 5.0 supercharged. It's something else. That car has 542 horsepower. It is the fastest Range Rover so far because it's lighter than the Sport and the L45, so it gives you awesome power. So there you go. If you're getting a VELAR, I would say please avoid the 2.0 liter engines. Make sure it's the P340 or a 380, or just go for the main shebang at the 5.0, the 5.0 V8 supercharged, and enjoy the power. Now to another interesting part. A true Range Rover is expected to be as good off-road as it is on a track. How good is the VELAR suspension, and how good is the VELAR off-road? I can confidently say that the VELAR is awesome off-road. The wading depth is at about 25.5 inches. That makes it almost as good as the Range Rover and the Range Rover Sport. It features automatic weight sensing technology, variable height suspension, active rear differential, advanced steering response, and a whole lot more. Now, this is super awesome for an SUV of this size. So for the suspension, the dynamic version of the VELAR shares the same configuration with its bigger brothers, the Sport and the Range Rover itself. The S-spring, upper arm, the spindle, the control arms, everything is basically the same. So it gives you the same road handling, the same characteristics, but do not expect to share parts with other Range Rovers. So the parts are going to be a bit pricey. The rear suspension configuration as well is about the same, and the VELAR of course can hold its own off-road, like you can see from this vehicle. This vehicle is coming from the east and is going through some seriously rough terrain, and of course it holds its own. We're actually changing the brake pads, and we're just looking at the four-wheel drive operation. As with the Range Rover and the Range Rover Sport, the VELAR is quite capable off-road. Through obstacles, it's easy to maneuver with the 3-level stages of height selection. The trunk of the VELAR is actually very useful. I guess that's because of this stretched out coupe line thingy. It's huge. I must tell you, it's very, very big and useful. A whole lot better than the Evoque. I also like the fact that the VELAR is equipped with ADB, which is the Adaptive Driving Beam, which is a system that evaluates the road scene ahead of the vehicle and automatically adapts the light distribution according to the position of the preceding traffic and oncoming traffic. Awesome. To appreciate the beauty of the interior in the VELAR, I had to do this at night. Just like the Sport and the L405, you have this beautiful dual display with all the information and all the controls. Below, you have the controls for the traction and controls for your height, controls for your seats, climate, and other settings.